Hello and welcome back. It seems lately there's a real appetite for budget cars in that sub £5,000-6,000 price point. Now the problem is, this is absolute minefield money. Yes, there may very well be a couple of bargains to be had, but there's an awful lot of cars in this price category that would be monumental money pits. So join me for a Brew Browse style video. We've not had one of those in a while. And let's find the very best cars for sale on Auto Trader right now. Before we get started, just a quick note from me to say I do now offer one-on-one call sessions, so if you need a hand with anything related to car buying, you can book a session in the description below. I don't mean it to sound like a shameless plug, it kinda is, isn't it? There's no getting around that. Anyway, I just appreciate it might be helpful for some of you. On with the show. Right, criteria wise, not much to speak of here. Up to £6,000, any make, any model, any age. Let's go, let's see what we get. Okay, admittedly not a strong start. We got a Vauxhall Corsa. It's the 1.4 Ecotech. As with many a Vauxhall, I think they're good looking little cars, but I can hear that timing chain rattling from here, can you? Personally, this wouldn't be my choice. These are known for stretching chains and also known for the tensioners breaking up actually. You'll sometimes find them when you take the sump off. A lovely little surprise for many a mechanic in the land. I think we can do a good bit better than a 1.4 Corsa. Next up we got a Citroen Grand C4 Picasso. Okay, alright. So the one thing I will say is, on this budget, if you need a car of this size, particularly with 7 seats, your choice is maybe going to be a little bit limited, isn't it? No, it's not going to be the most reliable car you'll ever own, but I wouldn't say outright avoid it. Let's talk a little bit more about it and have a look. So it's the 1.6, this one, I think. They came in two flavours. You got the 1.6 and you got the 2 litre. The 2 litre was undeniably the better of the two, but I don't think we're going to get one on this budget. Now, the one big takeaway from these is I wouldn't buy one before 2012. So 2012 model year, that's when they switched from the old DV6 engine that absolutely ate turbos. If you owned one of them, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They had a tiny little oil strainer in the engine that would cause blockages, cause starvation, along with a host of other problems. That wasn't helped by the ludicrous 20,000 mile service interval that Citroen put on them at the time as well. They done it and a lot of other manufacturers done it, much to the peril of engines. Now, what I'm getting at here is these later post-2012 engines, they used the DV6C engine. That was quite a bit better. Servicing was still key, as they are quite sensitive to dirty oil. And the other thing you're going to want to be careful of on these are the electrics. This is now an 11-year-old French car, so proceed with caution. But I do appreciate, if you're on a budget, it might be a little bit limited when it comes to cars of this size. So a maybe with caution. Next up, we've got a very lovely little Renault Clio. Let's take a closer look at that. That bumper's a little bit off, isn't it? A little bit misaligned. Some curbing on the wheel. It might be alright. It might just be that the prep is lacking a little bit. Some of these garages, they're operating on such a fine margin that they don't even bother with these simple bits of prep, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, how many miles is it on? It's on 70,000 miles. I mean, maybe there's a better example of one of these to be had out there, but these are alright. Decent little cars, that 1.5 diesel. I mean, yeah, common modern day diesel stuff, DPFs, EGRs getting choked up, but no fundamental reliability problems here to speak of. Very, very economical as well. I actually ran one of these for a little while. It was a courtesy car whilst my car was being repaired, but I would routinely crack 65, 70 miles to the gallon without really trying. Super economical little things. Right, I'm going to try and speed this along so I can actually get through a few cars in this video. I keep getting caught up talking about the same cars. Right, so next we've got a Dacia, or Dacia, as I've been corrected many a time, Dacia Sandero. Good news. If you don't get that reference, just check yourself out here. I'm only joking. Please don't. Please continue to watch James May, Top Gear. And you love these things, remember? Right, it's the 1 litre SCE. SCE essentially means it's the naturally aspirated engine. The 1 litre one, it's going to be slow. Yeah, you can bet on that. TCE, those with the turbocharged ones, they were all labelled as TCE. So I mean, it's the essence of the brand, this, isn't it? It's going to be slow. It's going to be pretty unremarkable. It's going to be a bit cheap in places. But there aren't really any fundamental reliability reasons to avoid it. I have seen a few of these come through with starter problems, starter motors being burnt out. The problem seems to relate back to the ignition. But other than that, they seem to be okay. The one thing I will mention is there can sometimes be a bit of a weight on parts from Dacia. So bear that in mind. That's kind of leaning into the insurance cost, by the way, because people are getting their Dacias repaired. They're having to have an extended wait on parts. Therefore, they're getting a courtesy car for longer. That's why you see the insurance prices on some Dacias go up a little bit. Interesting. Next up, a Skoda Citigo, the 1 litre MPI. Good little cars, solid alternative to the very popular Hyundai i10s or the Kia Picantos. I have seen a few of these start to get corrosion around about the filler cap, so if you do go look at one, have a look at that. The other thing to mention on these, I've noticed it on a couple of them actually, they can be a bit stiff getting into first or reverse when they're cold. The reason that that's worth noting is if you go see one of these and it's already warmed up, the owner's been driving it about, you'll never notice until the next morning when it's under your ownership and you realise, oh hang on, this is a bit tough getting into first or reverse. So ideally, if you're going to go and look at a 1 litre Citigo, ask the seller to leave the car cold for your arrival. Right, what we got next? Oh, it's a little Peugeot 108 in a very dapper red, if I do say so. Hang on a minute, I think something just caught my eye there. Oh, it did, look at that. Here's a landmine for you. So these little 108s, the C1s, the Igos, they all got a brilliant rep for reliability, and they deserved it. The great little cars when they're equipped with that 1 litre engine. When they've got this 1.2, well, when this 108's got that 1.2 PureTech, it's anything but. That is the Stellantis 1.2 PureTech that you may be familiar with for having the horrid, unreliable, problematic wet belt fitted. The belt that is submerged in the hot oil and breaks apart, blocks various parts of the engine, basically kills the engine eventually, unless you're continually swapping that belt out. That is that engine. So it's anything but a reliable little car. Perfect example of why you need to be careful on the used market. Avoid, avoid, avoid. You'd be better taking your £6,000 and just gambling it. You'd have a better chance of a happy future just gambling your money away. Next, we've got a 1.6 diesel Seat Leon. Let's go on and talk about that. But before I do, a little side note here. Now, no matter what one of these cars that you're buying, any used car, you need to make sure that you do an HPI report on it. A little side bit of knowledge for you here. It's the only way you can find out about hidden crash damage, maybe any previous finance that car has still got on it. Now, there's lots of services out there that will provide this. You can just go off and Google it. But the one that I always recommend and the one that I use personally is Vehicle Score. I really like this service because it's free for one. So you put the plate in, it'll tell you the good and bad points about that car. But if you're serious about buying it, you really should buy one of their paid HPI reports. For the price of a couple of cups of coffee, it's well worth it. You're going to get the full background of that car. Now, to make it even better, I do have a 20% discount voucher with these guys. I'll add it in the description below, so no matter what car you go on and buy, you can at least be sure of the points that it is going to check for you. So back to our very lovely little Seat Leon here. Now, a bit of a shock for you on this one. I'll be surprised if you know it, but this little 1.6 diesel is used all over the place. It's not uncommon for Audi, Volkswagen, Seat to share engines. This 1.6 is no exception. Here's the shocker though. Would you believe me if I told you that engine does actually use a wet belt? It's not the timing belt, granted, like the EcoBoost Fords or even that little Peugeot that we were talking about, but the oil pump drive, the belt that drives the oil pump, is a traditional wet belt, as in it's a rubber belt, it's submerged in oil. Now, couple of things to say about that. It's nowhere near as unreliable as a setup that uses a wet timing belt. This is probably where they got the idea to use wet timing belts from, because they were used for some time in engines like this 1.6 diesel to drive the oil pump. Now, the reason that it's nowhere near as unreliable is because it's not under nearly as much strain as a timing belt would be. That being said, as the miles do start to creep up, you do occasionally start to see these belts start to fray and break apart as well. Then you end up in a similar situation as you do with the Stellantis 1.2 PureTech or the EcoBoost engine, or dare I say it, even Honda's 1 litre as well. Next, the little Mazda 2, it's the 1.5 Skyactiv. Let's get a closer look because this could be a very good bet. It's the 1.5. Now the key here is it's the 1.5 petrol. I think I've seen this was a 2015 car. Yeah, so don't get this confused. Mazda did actually make a diesel 1.5 between, I want to say, 2015 and 2018. It was horrible. There was failures all over the place. I'm getting flashbacks. But this little petrol engine, it's alright. That seems to be the case with Mazda. They seem to, not all the time, but quite often, their diesel engines aren't very good, but the petrols are very good. I mean, this is going to be a bit underpowered, but no big, glaring, obvious problems. Just don't get it confused with that diesel engine. We've got a Vauxhall Insignia. Interesting little fact about the Insignia. I've got a friend who he recycles cars, basically runs the car crusher. He said Insignias are some of the most difficult cars for the crusher to actually squeeze into a ball. There you go, something to do with the shape of them, and they must be made pretty strong. So this has got the 2 litre CDTI. Looks like an unmarked cop car, doesn't it? Maybe a bit old for it now, but if that pulled up behind you on the motorway before, you'd start behaving, wouldn't you? I mean, these were okay. They were alright. There's one very particular problem with them that is really off-putting. That's why the car is what it is. It's only on 80,000 miles, £6,000. Now, the problem that I'm talking about here, it's on the oil pickup. Now, there's a little seal, quite a small seal. The problem is that goes brittle and it starts to suck in air. This can lead to low oil pressure and eventual failure of the engine if you don't catch it. From memory, when you start them up, you start getting the low engine oil pressure light coming on. Some people will just ignore it because it seems to recover after a second or two, but that's it, starting to fail. Now, it is quite a big job to get this swapped out. From memory, I don't think you need to take the gearbox all the way out, but you need to partially drop it down at one side and kind of squeeze in that way. It is a bit of a gamble buying this with the 2 litre CDTI. Unless the car's coming cheap enough that you don't mind spending a couple of quid, or maybe even if you can do the labour yourself to swap that out, it could be a good bet, but a little bit of a gamble. Something a bit smaller, an Audi A1. Okay, right, so it's got the 1.4 TFSI. I actually owned one of these in my younger years. I really liked it. It was a great little car, actually. Felt quite special for what it was. Despite being a small car, it still had that premium Audi feel. And when it's coming at this price point, it's quite nice, isn't it? You feel like you get a lot of car for your money. Still nice and tidy. The memories come flooding back. I remember this gearbox. That is one thing. It wouldn't put me off buying one, but it was like stirring soup. It had such a long throw on it, and it just felt so vague. One of the vaguest gearboxes I've ever driven. But engine-wise, 200 Newton meters, I think it is. Really quite a torquey little engine, and because of that, it feels quite sprightly to drive. Now, reliability-wise, yeah, they are getting a little bit older now, and these 1.4s, they can stretch a timing chain from time to time, especially when the miles start getting up. This is nearly on 100,000. So I think it was 90 or 100,000. Audi advise a check on that chain just to determine the condition. So if you did go into one of these, I'd be getting that done. I'd be having a check at that chain condition and maybe even budgeting enough that you can get it swapped out if it is getting a little bit on the slack side. Back to our list, and we have got, when you look at that, the pinnacle of reliability. Let's take a closer look. Little Yaris. Oh, I can see the way this is going to go. Yeah, when it takes that long to load, the car's gone, it's sold. I'm not surprised. Great little cars, super reliable. No problems really to speak of with these. The big thing you want to be careful of, what age is it? 2013, so that's what, 15 years? No, not quite. 12 years old. I don't know where I got my maths from there. Good little cars, but rust is the problem. Again, it's just like these Hondas with the Jazz and such. Mechanically, they're very, very strong. However, you need to be on the lookout for rust. Now, if you use that vehicle score check, scroll down on the page a little bit and it gives you the MOT histories. Have a scan through that and look for anything that looks kind of terminal, anything relating to rust or corrosion. Just bear it in mind when you do go look at the car. Double check the areas that were highlighted. To be honest, if there's rust starting to be mentioned on it, I'd probably be looking at something else. But if you find a rust-free one, mechanically, they're very, very tough. Seat Ibiza 1.2 TSI. Yeah, I mean, good little cars, but many a noisy timing chain on these. It's usually the tensioners that go on these rather than the chain. Now, this particular car being a 2014, this is just before they changed over to the belts on the 1.2. That gives you some indication as to how the chains were performing, so proceed with caution, make sure the chain's not too noisy. Another Clio, it's also out of budget, so we'll skip over that. A Corsa 1 litre turbo EcoFlex. What do we think of that, people? No. Problems with one of the cylinders in particular, turbo problems, quite a long way on replacement parts. Recommend that one to your enemy. And on to a little Honda Civic. I don't know if I'm sold on that colour. Oh, I thought it was going to be another sold one. Often these good cars, they don't hang around nowadays, let me tell you. Yeah, I'm not sold on that colour. It's a kind of strange green, isn't it? Maybe you like it, that's quite a subjective thing. Not much to say on these. Typical Honda reliability. Superb cars, really, really good. Even with 80-odd thousand miles, that thing's going to run for quite some time to come yet. It's a 2013, so again, a bit like the Yaris, any Japanese car, it's not really the mechanicals you want to be worried about, it's more the corrosion and the rust. Again, make use of that vehicle score MOT checker and have a look and make sure it's all good. I still quite like the interiors on these. I think they've dated a bit better than, remember the generation that came before it, it was kind of spaceship-like. I think they've dated a little bit better than those did. They kind of wound it back on them, didn't they? So, as not to make this video too long, let's end on a high with the Honda. Now, if you have found this video useful, you want to see more of them, please do hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future uploads. And also, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I'll see you for the next one.